Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back. Glad you're here today. So today we're going through picking all of one of our gardens. It's time to get that picked and bush hogged and get our salad patch planted. So I wanted to stop. On the way down there, I wanted to just show you my hillside garden here. This y'all saw us plant this here a while back. It has done just absolutely excellent. We had a little trouble with some squash bugs, but we took care of that. We've picked some real nice Kershaw squash out of here, and some butternuts, and we've got some pumpkins growing up in there. I mean, these vines have completely took over this hillside. That's exactly what we wanted them to do. And I've got some broom corn planted right here.
What's a broom corn?
Something, it don't have ears on it. You just make a broom out of the top or something. Oh. It was something we found the seeds on sale, thought it was cool. And there's my pigglies this morning. So we're gonna head on down to the garden and get our stuff picked.
Night night can do the part. I know, I like it.
This garden is pretty much taken over with grass and weeds. We did good all season, and it's like this time of year around here, you know, of course we're tired because we've been working, you know, so hard in these gardens, but also the weeds just go rampant this time of year. So it's time to get everything picked and get this weed eated before these weeds decide to seed out.
We got our work cut out for us today, but I promise you, unless we get interrupted by the end of the day, this is not going to look like the same place. And we're going to have our salad patch sowed on that far side of the garden. The rest of this is going to be in a cover crop. And this year I'm going to be using crimson clover. Since we sowed so much corn down here this year, I want to use something to put nitrogen back into the soil. And I've just heard really good. I've never personally used crimson clovers, and I've heard really good stuff about it. So I wanted to try it. It's a little on the expensive side, but I've heard from many people it's worth it. So we're going to try it. But I'm actually like doing a full makeover on this garden today. All the old deer fencing we had around it, everything is coming out today. I'm cleaning up. I'm going to clean up everything and starting over from scratch, basically. The only thing I'm leaving up is the T-post for the fencing. And, you know, we're going to be here a while. We've got this trellis system to take down for the Crowder peas over here. Of course, like I said, it's all got to be bush hogs. And then it'll probably take 2 or 3 times of tilling to actually get it back to a point where we can sow it. But anyways, we're going to get to work picking this stuff and see if we can't get all this done today. So y'all, this has kind of got out of hand down here. Which the inside fence, so what we had going on for our deer fence here was one of the 3D type fences. We had a fence on the inside, and then about right here, I had the chicken net run, and I've already pulled all the chicken net up. That chicken net had power on it constantly, and that was mainly just to keep the coons and stuff out. That's why we use the chicken net, and they won't go through that chicken net when there's power on it. But when you've got the 3-dimensional type fence where you've got a fence back here and one out a few feet, the deer, they say, can't judge that distance and they won't jump over it because they're scared they'll get hurt. So it doesn't really have anything to do with the height of it. It's the I don't know, what the dimension of it, I guess. So anyways, the inside fence, really, I've learned that all we need is one top run here, and then the netting would do the rest. So the deer see that top run of fence, and then they see the netting, and they don't try to jump it. But for like 2 years now, we've had this old poly wire. We did have 3 runs of it up. And somebody leave down in the comments and let me know, has anybody else had a problem with these type of insulators lately?
They're junk.
They are junk. We have tried 2 or 3 different brands, and they all break. I've never, ever had this problem. I've got insulators on T-posts that are probably 20 years old, and they're not breaking. These right here have been on this post for 2 years, and within the first season of them being here, they were broke. And same way on this new fence we built up here that we did have the goats in. All the new insulators, that fence was put up this spring, those insulators are already broke. There's not been anything run into that fence to break them. I've got distracted here. But anyways, pulling out this here, this wire, you can see it is buried up in the grass. Now y'all, this did not have power on it, so this was just kind of there as just something the deer could see. And y'all, I'm telling you, I knew it was buried in the grass, but I didn't know it was this bad. Like I said, I think it's got out of hand. So just for this alone, I've got my work cut out for me just getting the fence out of here. But I'm scared once I go to running the bush hog and the tiller with this part laying on the ground, I'll end up getting it wrapped around the bush hog or the tiller tines, and that's one thing I definitely don't want today. I'm going to save some of these seeds off of these Crowder peas right here. I'm not even sure if they're a hybrid or if they're an heirloom seed. I really don't know. But I want to tell you something. The one thing about saving seeds is whether it's a hybrid or an heirloom, you're still going to get something next year. You just ain't going to know what it is. So, you know, if it's a hybrid, you won't know exactly what breed it is, what variety it is. But one thing I wanted to mention is, you might have seen in our popcorn video, so right now it is 9:30 in the morning, and look, you can still see part of this garden here is still in the shade, and then the far side over there is just starting to see the sun. But that's what we were talking about, how this holler down here just doesn't quite get enough sunlight for a garden. But y'all, with that being said, it stays so much cooler down here in the summertime that like the summer heat doesn't cook this garden like it would a full sun garden. So there's benefits to that too.
Work smarter, not harder. So we're picking these pink-eyed, purple hull peas. Did we get these from home?
No, these come, I'll be honest, I think they come off Amazon.
Okay, well, we got our seeds off of Amazon for these. And the other day, I shelled a bunch and canned them. We had eaten some last year. They were really good. So we decided to plant some. They're a pain in the butt to shell, but they're really good.
They're a type of cow pea, kind of just like the Crowder peas that we had over there. We just don't remember what varieties those peas was. But all of these peas like this are in the cow pea family. They just all might look a little different or taste a little different.
And you get double the benefit because this also acts as kind of a cover crop because it's a legume, right?
Yep, that's right.
And so we'll till these under, and that's going to help our ground too.
And y'all, speaking of cover crops, I know earlier I mentioned that I'm getting ready to sow this in my cover crop, the whole garden. This will be like my wintertime cover crop. Like I said, I'm going to be putting crimson clover in here. And it'll stay this way the rest of the winter till springtime comes and we till it back up for our new garden. Out in amongst the corn and stuff, which you probably can't see on the camera right now, not the popcorn, but the other sweet corn we had behind us here, I had some bare ground where the squash was, and then in between the corn rows, I actually took buckwheat. We'll show you here in a minute. Took some buckwheat and planted in amongst the rows and planted on all the bare ground, and we have noticed that it actually did help shade out with the weeds this year, because normally this would have just, I mean, it looks like a jungle right now, but a lot of what you see is buckwheat, and that's a good thing, because it means it shaded out a lot of those weed seeds from taking over. And so if it shades out the weeds, then there's no weeds here to produce more seeds. And that's kind of the goal with cover crops as well. That's one of the many goals of cover crops. Y'all, sometimes it kind of hurts my soul to see something that's still producing, I guess you'd say, get destroyed. But I imagine Megan's probably shelled her share of peas this year, and she's about done with it. We've given peas away, y'all. We've put peas in those produce boxes she had. I mean, that's the great thing about these type of peas, these cow peas. They just produce and produce and produce, and you honestly get way more than you'll ever use unless you just plant a small patch of them. Just like those Crowder peas that I just tore down over there earlier. Y'all, we've picked so many peas off of those, and they were still loaded. And all I done the last time I run a tiller through this, my walk behind tiller, I went right behind it and throwed out buckwheat seeds. And the corn had already pretty much done its thing and made what it was gonna make. So that seed come up in there and then all out through here. And just so you know, this big pile of brush right here, this is a stump. Quick little mention here, this whole area right here used to be woods. Seems like everything that we work on at one time was woods. Turn around and show them there, Megan. So this is the property line right here, actually. And this bottom down here used to look like that back, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago when we bought this place. And we worked on it gradually and slowly got it cleared up. And so the big stumps that's out here in the middle of our garden were some of the bigger trees that we couldn't dig up, that we couldn't get out with a tractor. And matter of fact, at one time I had my daddy's bulldozer down here, and even it's a smaller bulldozer, and even it wouldn't get these bigger trees up. So now we're just kind of waiting on the stumps to rot out. I cut them off pretty low. I till around them each year when I'm fixing the garden, and eventually they'll rot out. But you know, it's a constant work in progress all the time when you're trying to take a property and turn it into something that you can use, especially if you've got one like what we had at first that was pretty much completely overgrown. Every bit of it was.
So we did a little experiment. We planted some pole beans up against our corn. This is the popcorn that you saw in the previous video. If you hadn't checked out that video, wanting to grow your own popcorn, check that out. But we just kind of planted them and forgot about them. And they have done really good climbing up. The corn was already established and actually starting to dry when we planted these. So they had something good. Hey, we missed the popcorn last night.
I see that.
We missed one. But they've grown all the way to the top of the corn and have done really, really good. Again, this is a lagoon, so when we till all this back under, you know, it's like 2 for the price of 1.
Can't believe we missed that one. That's a nice one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I can't believe we missed it either. But yeah, well, so now these right here are Kentucky Blue Wonders. Now these did come from Hoss, right?
Yes.
These come from Hoss Tools, so we were excited to try them. They're a mix between a Blue Lake and a Kentucky Wonder. I canned a few the other day, but I ain't cooked none fresh to try them yet. So we're gonna go through and get these picked too.
That's a pretty one. That's like a jade.
Watch out for them stinging worms. And down it goes. This garden is yet to disappoint us. Off of this small little plot right here, y'all, we have grown a ton of food. A ton. While he's bush hogging, I hope you can hear me. I just have a quick question. This big bundle of stuff is that net that he just pulled out of there that had the crown of peas on it. Well, this net's coming like a 750-foot roll, right? But it says it's reusable net. Somebody please tell me. Right here's the net. Somebody tell me how I'm supposed to reuse that. You know, I don't see it happening. And like I said, we got a huge roll of it, so we're probably just gonna get rid of this and put up new netting next year. But if anybody does reuse it, please tell me the trick to reusing this stuff right here, because it is a knotted up mess, and it was like this before he pulled it out. So I'm just curious. Like he said, you really do hate to see it go. You know, it's kind of a bittersweet moment to me anyway. You know, spent a lot of hours down here this summer, a lot of hours, and it's kind of like welcoming in fall doing this right here. Ready to get our stuff sowed and time to bring in some new life for fall. That's God's classroom right there. I'm always looking for different plants and stuff, and we've had quite a bit of this come up this year. So this is, I looked it up, it's a cardinal flower. And I thought it was pretty neat. Actually, the Cherokees, what I've read about it, used to use it to, they would crush up the plant, put it on like a damp cloth, a piece of cloth, and put it on their head, and it relieves headaches. And said the roots can be made into a tea to relieve fevers. So I thought that was pretty cool, little bit of information I thought I'd share with y'all. Now, I ain't a doctor and I don't claim to be one, so take that as you will. It did it! Good job! We're learning how to skip rocks. Now what are you doing?
Watch out because they...
Well, the garden's done for the most part. We're gonna plant salad out here, and so there'll be another video coming at you about that. If you don't know what salad is, we're gonna teach you.
Yep.
And I'm gonna let Andy have some closing remarks here.
So yeah, this is pretty much done. This is obviously not ideal to replant something in yet, but this is at the point now where we kind of let it sit, and we let what we had there, we've chopped it up with the tiller, we've bush hogged it, then chopped it up with the tiller, and we have to let it, I guess you'd say, maybe die back for a little bit before we try to continue to chop it up the rest of the way. So we'll give this, ideally, a day or two would be perfect, but we don't have a day or two to work with here because we've got rain coming in tomorrow. So we're actually going to try sowing this in our cover crop and our salad patch later this evening. But anyways, it'll take several more passes with the tiller, but it's definitely a huge difference from what you saw this morning. And you know, it's amazing the mess a garden can become if you just kind of just leave it alone. And you know, we worked in it and kept it clean all summer. We actually done the best we've ever done this year of keeping our gardens clean. But then it's like once you hit that point, the weeds take it before you know it. I mean, in a matter of a week or two, they were just boom everywhere. But you know, everything had pretty much done its thing, and so it didn't make much difference anyways. But now we're ready for our cover crop and our salad patch. So I think that's about it. And like she said, on the next video, we'll be showing you what a salad patch is, and just in case you don't know. I think that's kind of a regional term there for a mixture of a whole lot of different things put together. But anyways, be looking for that on the next video. And y'all, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.